Okay, in this commute, we'll go ahead and talk about pretty much torque. And the reason for is people get the misconception that all direct drives have no torque. You know what I mean? Lately I've been kind of doing video on the Lyric Graffiti and stuff like that. But I kind of just want to talk about torque in general. And yeah, you could turn here, so yeah, plenty of time to go here. But they always say that, you know, direct drive bikes, you can't keep up with traffic and so forth, and you know, that they have no torque, which is not true, because that's what I'm riding right now. Trust me, a good direct drive can have plenty of torque and stuff like that, you know what I mean? If it's rounded correctly and stuff like that. You can even get some direct drives, let's just say, that's 2,000 watts, doesn't have to even necessarily be a 3,000 or 5,000 watt, that will do 120 newton meters of torque. And that's what you want to look at when you're looking at a direct drive, essentially, is looking to see how much torque that direct drive can actually put out, because they do most of the time put the torque specs on the actual motor itself. And if it's a decent torque, you know, decent motor, it'll do about 120 newton meters or more and stuff like that. And most of them are around 165 newton meters torque, which is plenty of torque. You know what I mean? You keep up with traffic, you know, you don't gotta worry about having issues with, you know, climbing up hills and stuff. Like we're climbing this hill right now, and I better show you that this bike has plenty of torque. And like I said, I got this tuned down to only 60 amps right now, which the Lyric Graffiti can claim to do about 50 amps. You know what I mean? And this bike can actually do, you know, this hill no problem. And you can see it's very steady and very high incline and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Most bikes would actually struggle or not move at all, especially if it's 1,000 watts and stuff like that. You would literally have to pedal it up there. And I wouldn't recommend, obviously, pedaling with traffic on there. You know what I mean? You would take the sidewalk at that point, which is actually more dangerous, because, you know, you got the expressway exits and entrance there and stuff like that, and cars don't like to slow down going through those, so you got to be careful, you know. So you definitely want a bike that has torque, so you can meet intersections. If you have to cross like that big ass hill that I just had to go over right now, you can do it easily without even slowing down and stuff like that. The thing, like I said, you want to look at when you're looking at motors for torque and stuff like that, just look at the newton meters. Look at how much newton meters of torque it is. Anything over 95 newton meters of torque will be able to climb a hill. If you want to climb a hill very at decent rate, like 20 miles per hour and higher, you're going to need something like 120 newton meters and higher to be able to do that, of course. So that's what you want to look for. Now, the Lyric Graffiti 1500 watt motor, that's what it is, even though they claim it's a 2500 watt motor. It's a 1500 watt, but it performs like one. It has the performance of exactly to the T, like an 82 newton meters of torque. That's why I figure it's a 1500 watt motor. You know what? That's what 1500 watt motors that I have built in the past were able to do. Same exact performance, pretty much. You know what? You get up to 37 miles per hour top speed on a 52 volt setup. And you also would have poor, you know, hill climbing abilities, like the Lyric Graffiti had shown in Mark's videos when he was actually crossing. It wasn't even that big of a hill, and he could get it up there. It stopped, and he actually had to pedal it to keep it going and stuff like that. And that's not what you want to do, because that makes for a very dangerous situation, especially if you're riding on the street like I am right now and stuff like that, and you're depending on that torque. And especially if you're going up a steep uphill, you know what I mean? You don't want the bike, especially a 90-pound bike, to actually go backwards on you as you're doing it, because that's gonna make for an accident essentially and stuff like that. And you know, 90-pound bike with single gear is not gonna be easy to, you know, pedal it up that hill essentially and stuff like that. And that's why I said Lyric Graffiti sure just kept the derailleur and the gear set, because at least you could go to the easy gear and you could keep it from going backwards essentially, and you know, maybe able to get it up the hill with your power and the motor power combined. But when you only have a single gear, it makes for a disadvantage and stuff like that. And that's the problem I have with the Lyric Graffiti essentially, you know what I mean? But point aside though, you know what I mean? When you look for an e-bike, always look for how many newton meters of torque. Try to get something like a standard gear hub motor, for example, like a Super 73 and stuff like that. Will have about 95 newton meters of torque and stuff like that. A dual motorbike like the Ariel Grizzly stuff can have double that torque because you got two motors. You got a front and a rear motor, so you're doubling the torque. And of course, that's going to be able to slaughter and eat hills for breakfast pretty much. You know what I mean? Because of that, so you shouldn't see much slow down. You might lose a mile or two off the top speed off it while climbing up a hill, but you'll be able to get up that hill pretty fast. Lyric, only 82 newton meters of torque. That's what it does. That's what I've seen in videos essentially and stuff like that. I know some people are gonna say, oh, it'll probably do more. Oh, it'll do more. No, it won't. You know, that's pretty much what it does, and that's what it's going to do, you know, huh? Now, as far as, you know, like, you know, let's put it like this way, pretty much what bike to buy and all that other stuff. I mean, it depends on your needs, you know. I know a lot of people were telling me, do you recommend this bike, do you recommend this bike or this bike? The problem is you know, bikes are kind of personal to people, like phones are personal to people and stuff like that. And you know, some people might want, you know, something that's like a moped style. Then you got those that like to actually pedal and stuff like that. And to pedal a bike, you need torque sensing, so you want to go a good mid drive with torque sensing is probably preferable because you don't got the unsprung rate, and you also don't got the issue with, you know, pretty much having a ghost pedal and stuff like that, because ghost pedal problems is caused by, of course, having what you call cadence sensor. And what a cadence sensor does, it just detects, okay, you got input on the pedals and stuff like that, and it pretty much puts whatever the program power of the motor, which is pretty much full power, into those pedals and stuff like that. And that's not something, of course, you know, that's ideal if you want to actually, you know, pedal assist the bike and stuff like that, because you'll be ghost pedaling all the time essentially, you know what I mean? So that's one thing to look for and stuff like that. I'm gonna go ahead and stop here at the gas station, and this pretty much would actually conclude the video on, you know, what pretty much torque specs means on a bike and stuff like that, and pretty much the minimum you want if you want to climb a lot of hills. I would just say get something at least 95 newton meters if you're looking for a low power bike. If you're looking for a high power bike, something 120 newton meters and higher is gonna give you that hill climbing ability and stuff like that, and that bike should be able to climb most hills with no problem. So this concludes the video.